Hey friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and I just want to touch base on a few things. I know so many of you sent me well wishes privately and here, and I want to thank you very much. I know I didn't mention it for the last two videos. As it turns out, I went to see another doctor, and who believes he has pinpointed the area, not necessarily the problem. However, we are aware that antibiotics seem to help. Now, the last round of antibiotics, my primary care physician gave me, did nothing. You know, it lasted for 7 days, and it just came back after 2 days of not taking the antibiotics. So this guy's put me on like mega doses of antibiotics. Hopefully I won't become allergic or resistant to them, but it has to be done, I think. And I feel much better. I felt well enough yesterday to go to the gathering. And so there's that. And I'm following up in 4 weeks with a visit to see if the infection cleared up. And then in 6 weeks after that, I'll have a procedure to make sure it's nothing worse than what we think. So because I'm in a certain amount of pain now, not because of that, but because of my back and my knees, it's always something. Today, I'm just using decks that are on my table and with arm's reach because I don't really want to, it hurts too much to bend and all that. I'm sure you understand. So I have a few decks that are on my table. I have the Fournier, cute deck. I have the Hess. I have the Metanoia. Oh, and I have this one over here. Oh, I have two more. I have the Surrealist Tarot, and I have the Marseille Knight. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one will I use today? I'll keep you guessing. I'll flip the camera and we'll get started. Oh, and I wanted to mention the reading I think you guys saw on Sunday regarding the 3 rows. The question I asked was, I wanted to get a sense about the results from the protesters, the popes, you know, televised mass and message, and then also, you know, whose parade. Now, I know it was ostensibly to honor the military. This is a military family, so I have nothing against the military, but it was masquerading as a military parade honoring the troops. But there's the Marines, there's the Navy, there's the Air Force, there's the Coast Guard, there's the National, there's all different, right? Okay, so it was the Army's birthday. Okay. At any rate, one showed up as violent. Now, as far as I know, there may have been isolated incidences of violence at the protests around the country. None that were huge, you know, none that were like burning down the city or anything. Nothing at his parade because there was nobody there, you know. The protests, as I mentioned, there was, you know, maybe there was somebody who assaulted a protester, but I don't think it was a devastating thing, although we may learn more later, but I don't think at this stage there has been. And in his parade, there wasn't any trouble because there was nobody there. And the Pope, of course, was a peaceable event. So what was that last row when I used the Hess, where there was a quint card was the Tower. One of the regular cards was the Tower. And there was a Knight of Swords. And I guess there was a Fool, right? So it kind of looked, because there were 2 towers on that row, and then there was the Knight of Swords. Was it the Hess? Oh, it was the Metelli. It was the Metelli. There was the Knight was like, the Knight of Swords had like, it almost looked like he was, you know, he almost looked like death, you know, coming on a horse. So it looked like definite violence, but it, you know, it didn't seem to correlate with the 3 questions I asked. So what do you do when that happens? You know, when there isn't a alignment with this line I'm designating or I'm understanding to be the parade, and it looked like violence from his camp, but then there was no violence at his parade. But there was big-time violence in Minnesota, and it was politically motivated. It may or may not have been what was being referenced in that bottom row. I can't say for sure because it wasn't part of the question, but it did pop up, and it was politically motivated by his camp. So there's that. Oh boy, what a terrible thing. And you know, when we were at our location, and we had to travel 23 miles because we're kind of like in Podunk, New Jersey. You know, there's like nothing around here. You know, people come out here and they're like, whoa. We didn't realize, like, you know, New Jersey was so podunky, but it is. There's a lot of land. It's farm country, you know, Garden State, you know. So a lot of people don't realize that the southern part of New Jersey is beautiful. It's really beautiful. And there are, you know, unfortunately, some of the land was, you know, homes were built on it, but it's still really pretty. And so people don't realize that, but we're out in the middle of nowhere. When people visit us, they're like, oh, podunk, you know, a podunk. And by other people's standards, like in the Midwest, this isn't podunk. Okay, it's relative, but we just prefer to live where there's, you know, where we live amongst neighbors. So we live with, you know, we live close to people so we can help them and they can help us, you know, and we could, you know, quickly get things if we have to, you know, but we have to hop in a car just like everywhere in the United States, unless you live in a town or a city. Unfortunately, this is a car culture. But what was the point I was trying to make? Hold on, let me think. Oh, well, at any rate, there was nothing local to us, so we had to travel for like 23 miles. And even that was like the highway. You know, we had to stand on the highway, which kind of like my husband was fine with it. He was stepping out in the highway with his son. The whole time I'm like, oh my God. But all it takes is one kookaboo who decides, I hate you, to decide to just go like this with a steering wheel, and then it could take the whole crowd out, you know. So I hope that next time the area has a better location, you know, because we should not be put in harm's way for doing the right thing, you know. But I guess it all depends on where they can get permission, and you know, a lot of this area is red. You know, not the whole place, but there are pockets of red for sure. And this is a blue state. So they're a minority, but they're really ugly about it. You know what I'm saying? At any rate, so I decided to use the Marseille at night. And it's done by Printagrams, and there was no card or anything, and I can't remember off the top of my head the gentleman who created this, but he did have an Etsy shop, and you can find it at Etsy. Just call it Marseille at night. Okay, so let me come up with a few questions, or one that's worthy of a signature spread, and we'll get started. As an aside, as far as I know, this is Sunday morning. Oh, it's Sunday afternoon. It's like 12. I think it's around 12. Yeah, something like that. They don't know who was responsible for the deaths in Minnesota yet. Oh, they know who. Oh, excuse me. They know who was responsible for the deaths in Minnesota. He just hasn't been apprehended yet. I apologize. My brain said something. My brain told me the truth. My mouth didn't say it right. So as far as I know, they don't know who he is. So I have an idea. Let's do the first reading on where this character might be found. Let's see where he might be found and under what conditions. Okay? Now, as I mentioned, it's noon on Sunday. By the time this airs, I don't know, maybe they will have found him and this will be irrelevant, but let's just check it out. Alrighty, I refuse to say this guy's name because I just don't like giving power to wicked people. So the question, if you recall, just a few seconds ago, you saw, where might he be found, under what conditions, what circumstances? Just give us, you know, I just asked for enough insight to know. In the event that this airs and he's been discovered, then we'll check it. I'll come back. And I'll hold myself accountable and we'll see where I went wrong. I usually always do that, at least with myself. Okay, so here we have eight cups. You know, could there be a large body of water? Not that he's in it, but near it maybe. Let's see what's next. So we have the World card. That's interesting. That could be a few things in the context of the question. Visually next to the Cup card, and also by reading the card. I want to see a few of them before I can figure it out. So this is probably him. Even though he was 57 years old, he was not a very mature man. And somebody who does something like that is not rational. Not, even though this is a suit of rationality, and there's no opposing cards to suggest otherwise, except for the 8 emotions, 8 cups. I don't know. Now, I'm thinking it's the worst aspect of this card, meaning representing him, despite whatever might be present in this row. Okay, it's followed by a baton. Could be a more aggression. Is this also an 8? So we have 8 cups and 8 cups and 8 batons stacked on top of one another. It's kind of like a cancellation, or they don't play well. We have front and center, Ace of Swords in the context of the question, violent nature. I'm wondering, okay, here we have the opposing feature. Oh no, we don't. My apologize. I was looking for land, but this row is all about might. This could be collaboration of multiple agencies searching for this guy with a violent nature. Let's see the last row. Okay, we have 10 cups. A subordinate or an immature individual of the suit of swords. I generally tend to see the court cards as people. Sometimes they can just reference, somebody delivering a message, but it's still usually a person. And then another page. Wow. So, isn't that interesting? Before I pull the Quint cards, just looking at this, we have children or subordinates. I don't know if this guy had kids or not. I mean, is it possible that we asked about his location and under what conditions he'll be found. Is it possible he's someplace where there's youngsters? Let's pull the Quint cards. Okay, well, front and center, the center row really interests me the most at this stage. So we have a row of violence. We can see the batons as weapons, and we certainly can see the sword in the center of his thrust of violence. It's met with death and justice. So it would mean, the collaboration of individuals, 8 different agencies will bring an end to his thing, whether it's his end or either way, it's going to be justice. But, let's see, time frame. Now, interestingly, we don't have any cards from the suit of coins, which might suggest a long time. Cups can be slow, but batons are quick, and so is the sword. So I'm thinking it will be quick. We also have the Chariot card up here. Notice that it's next to him on a horse. Now they had his car, and inside his car there was a hit list of people that were going to be the next targets. They're so pathetic, that his, whose camp is saying that they were, their lives were taken, or the other couple are in critical condition or serious condition. They're saying, whose camp is saying that they displeased a Democrat who retaliated by doing what they did, but they really drank the Kool-Aid here. I mean, clearly it's politically motivated. He left by foot, that he wasn't in a car, but that's not to say maybe he didn't get a car. Somehow maybe he got a car. I want to say water. And, because I want to say water because we have 2 cards of water relatively high. And then we have cards that could be doing double duty as what I already mentioned, but also, also as bridges or intersections, and then we have the wheel, which, could suggest water turning, someplace. I mean, it is Minnesota. There could be many settings. I've never been to Minnesota, never been there. So I can't speak from experience that I've ever been there. But, if there's rural, we're talking, we might be talking some rural areas that might have water wheels or something. So there might be something like that. Maybe near a school where there's children. We have the young people of intelligence and, education. So maybe, I know it's Sunday, so he's not going to be, kids aren't going to be there, but it could be a location where there are kids near water. So it could be like a school. He could be found at a school. These are the 2 suits that sort of suggest education or intelligence in young people. So to me, that maybe seems like a school. So it's maybe near a school or a facility that has to do with children, near water, bridge, cross, intersection. That's where he will be taken down either permanently or just to be brought to justice. And, the world card in that top row could be a few things. I'm not going to speak on them, though. Okay, I'm not going to wimp out, I'll tell you. What was found in his car was a hit list. I don't know if there was a manifesto found. If there was, it wasn't spoken. But, the world card in the context of the question, well, in the context of any question, can mean the manifestation, the achievement of a life, right? And, well, that's how I see it. That's why I don't like this card, the style of this kind of card. But like what, it should be before, the judgment card where you've achieved a certain amount of, that's how I feel. I think some of those Italian regions had it right where they put the world card before the judgment card, before the angel. So reading it like I prefer to see it and how I'm kind of receiving it, it's like the manifestation or the manifesto of what he had in mind. He might be writing it right now. There might be, he might be in seclusion someplace near a body of water in the woods, who knows, or someplace where he's maybe attempting to construct a manifesto. I could be completely wrong. I probably am. And when we do find out the truth, we'll come back and I'll be the first one to say, where did I go wrong and how did I misunderstand it? Because when you do that, when you didn't get it right and went, well, this is what I do. When I don't get it right, and I always pay attention to readings I did and I always revisit them because it's a learning experience. What did I miss or how could I have interpreted it differently that would have been more accurate? So that's what I will do, This is food for thought. This is, what we can go on for now. But after it's resolved and we see what went down, I would personally revisit this myself, even if I didn't do it publicly. Although some of you might remind me, you said this or that, just to see, how I might have misunderstood. But I do see collaborative effort of agencies, law enforcement, to get a violent individual. He won't get out of this, one way or another, they're getting him. And I don't think it's going to take a long time because we have a few, swift cards here. We do have a coin that could be slow, and we have cups that could be slow, but we have urgency, which is expressed here. So I think it'll be quick. And then we have cards of motion, like, a knight, and a vehicle. And then we have a wheel turning. So there's a lot of action, and I don't think it'll take forever to find this guy. I think it'll be swift. Those are my takes. That's my take on how I'm assessing how quickly it would be. And what I said about, I'm just going to repeat myself, so I'm not going to say it all over again. Let's see how it turns out. We'll definitely keep an eye on this. Until next time, friends, peace, stay well, and be kind. As a matter of fact, I may do this Sunday night because by Monday morning, it could be old news. It could be old news by now, for all I know. I know I already released a video at 11 this morning. Let me flip the camera so you're not looking at cards. I know I released a video this morning, and I don't like to bomb you guys with more than one video in a day. That's kind of obnoxious. But maybe you'll forgive me if I release this one in the evening or in the late afternoon. Maybe you will. Maybe I'll do that if you'll forgive me. And, okay, one thing I want to mention. You guys really need to start looking at my description areas, because if I had a channel where there were memberships, the goodie videos that I throw are frequently in the descriptive areas of my my videos. And about 2 or 3 ago, I think it was the court cards comparing Rider-Waite-Smith and TDM. In that descriptive area, there's a beautiful bonus for you. And not too many of you took advantage of it. So I just want to remind you. Make it a habit. Now, with that being said, there probably won't be any bonuses in this one, but you never know. You never know with me. Until next time, peace. Stay well. Be brave. Be brave.